Adam had always considered himself an ordinary mechanic. He worked on engines, tractors, and anything with wheels or gears in his small workshop on a quiet Earth colony. Life was simple, and Adam was happy with it. But deep inside, he longed for something more, something exciting, something out of the ordinary. He just never expected that his wish would come true on a regular, calm afternoon. That day started like any other. The sun was shining, and the scent of fresh grass filled the air as Adam walked toward his workshop, tools in hand. He had just finished fixing a broken-down farm vehicle when he noticed something strange out of the corner of his eye. It was barely visible through the thick trees on the edge of the forest near the colony. A flash of metal. A glimmer that didn't belong in the quiet, natural world of Earth. Curiosity instantly gripped Adam. He set down his tools and walked toward the strange sight. As he stepped into the forest, the sunlight faded under the thick canopy of leaves. The trees whispered with the wind, but Adam could hear nothing else. He pushed through the underbrush, following the faint glow that seemed to pull him in. What he found was unlike anything he had ever seen. In a small clearing, nestled among the roots of towering trees, sat a craft, smooth, metallic, and unlike any vehicle he had ever worked on. The shape was sleek, almost aerodynamic, with glowing lines running across its surface like veins. It was clearly not from Earth. Adam's heart raced as he approached. His hands trembled as he touched the cool surface. It hummed under his fingers, almost like it was alive. He took a deep breath and looked around, half expecting someone to jump out and tell him this was all a joke. But there was no one. The forest was silent except for the distant calls of birds. His mind raced. Could this be some kind of alien technology? He had heard stories of UFO sightings, but this was real. It didn't seem like any kind of man-made aircraft. The glowing lines on its surface pulsed faintly, as though it was waiting for something. Waiting for him. Without thinking, Adam crouched down to inspect it more closely. He was a mechanic after all. His whole life had been spent repairing things, fixing engines, solving problems with his hands. He felt a strange pull to figure out how this thing worked. Maybe it was just his curiosity, or maybe something more. Whatever it was, he couldn't walk away from it now. He ran his hand along the smooth surface, searching for any sort of opening. His fingers brushed over a small, hidden panel on the side of the craft. A soft click sounded, and the panel slid open with ease. Inside was a jumble of lights, buttons, and strange symbols that Adam couldn't make sense of. It looked like a complex puzzle, one that he had no experience solving. But Adam didn't mind. He had always been good at figuring things out. He had spent years fixing machines, engines, and even broken electronics. This was just another challenge. He started pressing buttons at random, watching as the lights flickered and flashed. Nothing happened at first, but then a low hum began, and the craft seemed to respond. The symbols on the inside of the craft blinked as if they were reacting to his touch. A sense of excitement surged through Adam. He had fixed plenty of broken machines in his time. But this was different. He wasn't just fixing an engine. He was possibly unlocking the secrets of an alien craft. His heart beat faster. He had no idea what he was doing, but something told him that if he could figure this out, it could change everything. The hum grew louder, and for a brief moment, Adam thought the entire craft would lift off the ground. But instead, something else happened. A soft, pulsing light appeared at the front of the ship. The light was warm, almost inviting, and Adam felt an odd sense of calm wash over him. He stepped back, eyes wide with wonder. Before he could react, the light began to shift. It swirled, expanding, and then suddenly solidified into a strange, glowing figure. It took a moment for Adam to process what he was seeing. A hologram. The figure before him was a woman, but not like any woman he had ever seen before. Her skin had a soft, silvery sheen, and her hair seemed to float around her, as if it were weightless. Her eyes, glowing with a faint blue light, focused on Adam. "Hello," The figure said, her voice smooth and melodic, though it sounded distant and mechanical. "I am Zara. I am in need of assistance." Adam stood frozen, staring at the hologram in front of him. He blinked several times, trying to process what he was seeing. An alien, a real alien, and she was asking him for help. He finally managed to gather his thoughts and replied, his voice shaky but determined, "You need help." "With what?" The figure seemed to study him for a moment before answering. "My craft is damaged. I need assistance to repair it. And in return, I can offer you something beyond your imagination." Adam's heart skipped a beat. What was she offering? What kind of help could he possibly provide to someone like her? But before he could ask more questions, the hologram flickered slightly, and the woman's voice softened. "Please, I can't stay here much longer. Help me, and I will give you a gift that could change everything." Adam was torn. The rational part of his mind screamed for him to run, to stay away from whatever this was. But his curiosity, his thirst for something more than his quiet life, pushed him forward. He nodded slowly, unsure of what would come next, but ready to find out. "All right," he said. "I'll help you." Adam stood in the clearing, his mind still racing from the surreal encounter with the alien craft. The hologram of Zara flickered before him, her glowing figure seeming to shimmer with an otherworldly energy. Her eyes locked onto his, almost as though she were studying him, waiting for a response. He had agreed to help her, but the weight of the situation had only just begun to hit him. Was this really happening? Was this all just some strange dream? "Thank you." Zara's voice was soft, almost like a whisper, but the words carried a sense of deep sincerity. "You have no idea how much this means to me." Adam cleared his throat, trying to steady his nerves. "What exactly happened to your ship?" he asked, his voice a little unsteady. It was hard to focus when everything about this situation was so extraordinary. Zara's hologram flickered for a moment, as though she were gathering her thoughts. "My craft was damaged during an unexpected encounter with a hostile force. I barely managed to escape with my life, but the damage was severe. I've been stranded here for what seems like an eternity. My people are far away, and the ship's systems are too advanced for me to repair alone." Adam nodded, even though he didn't fully understand. It was hard to wrap his head around the idea of space travel, hostile forces, and alien civilizations. But one thing was clear: she needed help, and he was the only one who could give it. He glanced at the alien craft again. The metallic surface gleamed in the soft light filtering through the trees. It looked sleek and powerful, but there were areas where the technology seemed to be failing: damaged panels, broken circuits, and a faint energy leak. He wasn't sure what he was dealing with, but Adam had always been a problem solver. No matter how difficult, if it was mechanical, he could fix it. "All right," Adam said, taking a step toward the ship. "Let's get to work. I'm not sure what I'm up against, but I'll give it my best shot." Zara's figure nodded in approval. "I will guide you. My knowledge of this technology is limited, but together, we can repair it." For the next few hours, Adam worked alongside the holographic image of Zara. He began by analyzing the damage to the craft, checking the broken circuits and the strange energy patterns that flowed through the ship's system. Zara's guidance was invaluable. She explained the basic functions of the craft, the power sources, and even how the ship's communication system worked. But there was a catch. Though she could offer advice, the actual work had to be done by Adam. He was the one who could physically interact with the ship. As Adam began to make progress, he couldn't help but feel a growing sense of wonder. He was touching alien technology, real alien technology. He had spent his whole life working on Earth-made engines, repairing machines, but this was something else entirely. The tools he used seemed so basic compared to the advanced systems of the ship, but somehow, with Zara's guidance, he managed to get parts of it working again. "Be careful with that panel," Zara warned when Adam reached for a delicate component. It's connected to the core power system. One wrong move, and it could overload the whole ship. Adam paused, his fingers hovering over the glowing panel. He had always prided himself on being careful, taking his time with every repair, no matter how small. But this was different. He was dealing with something beyond anything he had ever encountered. "You've done well so far," Zura said, her voice calm but full of admiration. "The ship's systems are starting to respond. It's almost as if it recognizes your touch." Adam felt a strange warmth at her words, but he didn't let it distract him. He focused on the task at hand, making adjustments here and there, reconnecting circuits, and slowly bringing the ship's systems back online. The once silent craft now hummed with energy, and the faint glow that had filled the air grew brighter. After several more hours of work, Adam stepped back, wiping sweat from his forehead. He looked at the ship, feeling a sense of pride. It wasn't perfect, but it was far better than it had been when he first found it. The energy leak was sealed, and several systems that had been offline were now fully operational. Zara's hologram appeared beside him, her figure glowing brighter than ever. "You've done it," she said, her voice full of wonder. "The ship is almost completely restored. I didn't think it was possible, but you've done it." Adam let out a breath he hadn't realized he'd been holding. "I'm just a mechanic. This is beyond anything I've ever fixed before. But I couldn't have done it without you." Zara smiled. At least, Adam assumed she did, since the glowing figure didn't have a mouth. But there was a warmth in her expression that he could feel. "You underestimate yourself. Adam, you have a talent for understanding things others cannot. That is why I trust you." As the last of the repairs were completed, Zora's hologram flickered once more, then disappeared, leaving Adam standing before the now fully repaired ship. The craft hummed with power, and Adam couldn't help but feel a sense of awe. He had fixed a real alien craft. But as the ship powered up, Adam couldn't shake the feeling that this was just the beginning. He had no idea what this gift from Zora would truly mean, but something told him that it would change his life forever. Adam stood in awe as the alien craft hummed to life. The metallic surface of the ship gleamed in the fading sunlight, its once damaged panels now perfectly intact. The energy fields around it flickered with vibrant blue and purple hues, casting an ethereal glow across the clearing. Adam wiped his hands on his coveralls, still processing everything that had happened. Zara's hologram reappeared, her glowing figure now standing beside the ship. "You have done something extraordinary," she said, her voice filled with gratitude. "I have never met anyone like you, Adam. Your skills have saved me. And now, I must offer you something in return." Adam shook his head, his mind still spinning. "I just did what any mechanic would do. You don't owe me anything." Zora's eyes seemed to sparkle, the soft glow of her form intensifying. "You are far more than a mechanic," she said. "Your talents, your curiosity, these are the traits that make you exceptional. I have seen many civilizations, but none have quite the same potential as yours. I can see now that Earth is full of untapped promise." Adam felt a little embarrassed. He wasn't used to receiving praise, especially from an alien. "Thanks, I guess. But what exactly are you offering?" Zara hesitated for a moment, her hologram flickering slightly as if gathering her thoughts. "I am part of a species that has explored countless star systems. Our people have knowledge and technology beyond your comprehension. But even with all our advancements, there are still things we cannot understand or control. And it is this potential I wish to share with you." She paused, and Adam noticed that the tone in her voice became more serious. "The gift I offer is not one of simple material wealth or power. It is knowledge. The kind of knowledge that can change everything for your people. But it comes with responsibility. You must use it wisely." Adam blinked, still not entirely grasping what Zara meant. "Knowledge? What kind of knowledge are you talking about?" Zara's hologram seemed to brighten as she spoke. I will share with you the technology of my people. It is far beyond anything on your world. You will learn to understand energy manipulation, advanced healing techniques, and the secrets of the stars themselves. But this gift comes with a promise. You must teach your people, share this knowledge with Earth, and help guide your civilization into a new era. Adam felt a rush of emotions. On one hand, the idea of having access to advanced alien technology was overwhelming. The possibilities were endless. He could change the world. On the other hand, the responsibility was immense. He was just one person. How could he possibly share such knowledge with the rest of humanity? What if things went wrong? Zara seemed to sense his hesitation. You will not be alone in this, Adam. My people will guide you as well. We will not force you to act beyond your capabilities. But we believe in you. We have seen the potential within you since the moment we crossed paths. Adam took a deep breath. He felt both excited and terrified at the same time. The weight of Zara's words hung in the air. She was offering him something that could change the course of history for humanity. But it was also a responsibility that could have serious consequences. What do I need to do? He asked, his voice barely above a whisper. Zara's hologram extended a hand toward him, a soft light radiating from her fingers. You must accept the gift. I will transmit the knowledge directly into your mind. It will not be easy, but you are capable. Your mind is strong enough to handle it. Just trust in the process, and everything will fall into place. Adam hesitated for a moment longer, his heart pounding in his chest. He wasn't sure what this would mean for him or for Earth, but the possibilities were too great to ignore. This was the opportunity of a lifetime, a chance to be part of something larger than anything he could ever imagine. He had always felt that there was more to life, more to the universe, and now he was being given a chance to discover it. All right, Adam said, his voice steady but filled with determination. I accept. As soon as the words left his lips, Zara's figure moved closer, and a soft, glowing light surrounded him. It wasn't like anything he had ever felt before. Warm, almost like a comforting embrace, but also powerful, as though it was filling every corner of his mind. He closed his eyes as the light intensified, feeling an overwhelming sense of knowledge flooding into his consciousness. It wasn't painful, but it was overwhelming. His mind expanded, as if new pathways were opening within him. He saw images of distant planets, vast star systems, and advanced machines that defied the laws of physics. He saw how energy could be harnessed, how diseases could be healed, how entire worlds could be transformed with the right knowledge. It was as if a door to a new reality had opened, and Adam was standing on the threshold. As the light began to fade, Adam opened his eyes. He was still in the clearing, standing before the now fully functioning alien craft. But something inside him had changed. The knowledge was there, inside him, waiting to be understood. Zara's hologram smiled warmly at him. You now carry the gift of my people. Use it wisely, Adam. The future of your world depends on it. Adam nodded slowly, still processing the vastness of what had just happened. He had no idea what the future would hold, but one thing was certain: his life, and the lives of everyone on Earth, would never be the same again. The days after Adam's encounter with Zara felt like a dream, one that he couldn't quite shake. The knowledge she had gifted him was still fresh in his mind, though it was overwhelming. He had learned so much, but understanding it all would take time. It wasn't just about the technology. It was about how to use it, how to guide humanity toward a better future. The weight of this responsibility pressed heavily on him, but it was a burden he knew he had to carry. Adam sat at his workbench in his garage, the tools of his trade scattered around him. The alien ship sat just outside, gleaming in the morning light. He couldn't bring himself to go near it just yet, not because he was afraid, but because it felt too real. The craft wasn't just a machine anymore. It was a symbol of everything that had changed in his life. The knowledge Zora had shared with him flowed through his thoughts like an endless stream, and yet He didn't know where to begin. How could he help the world with this new power? Where did he even start? The first thing he knew he had to do was understand it better. He needed to get comfortable with the technology inside him, to learn how to access it at will. Zara had warned him that the process wouldn't be easy, but that he was capable. It was time to prove that she was right. As Adam concentrated, he could feel the knowledge within him awakening. It wasn't like flipping a switch. It was more like a soft hum, a quiet whisper calling to him from deep within. He closed his eyes and allowed his mind to reach out, searching for the threads of information that connected him to the alien technology. Slowly, the knowledge began to take shape. He could sense the ship's systems, the patterns of energy that flowed through it, the delicate balance that kept it working. It was all there, like a map laid out before him. He reached for it, pulling at the strands of knowledge until he felt a jolt. The holographic display inside the garage flickered to life, showing the image of the alien craft. A map of its systems appeared in front of him, and with a few mental commands, the display shifted to show detailed schematics. Adam's heart raced. He could see how the energy was channeled through the ship, how the engines worked, how the ship could manipulate the very fabric of space to travel faster than light. He marveled at the beauty of it all, the elegance of the design, the complexity of the systems. It was like nothing he had ever seen before, and it was all in his mind now, ready for him to use. But as Adam began to understand the technology more, a new realization hit him. This wasn't just about fixing a broken ship. It was about learning how to use this knowledge to change the world. It was about making Earth a better place. His thoughts wandered to the problems humanity faced: pollution, disease, war. There were so many things wrong with the world, so many problems that seemed impossible to solve. But now, with the knowledge Zora had given him, Adam felt a glimmer of hope. He wasn't just a mechanic anymore. He was something more. He was a bridge between Earth and the stars. And if he played his cards right, he could help humanity reach its full potential. But that was the catch, wasn't it? Playing his cards right. Adam knew that with this power came danger. Not everyone would see the potential for good in these advancements. There would be those who wanted to use the technology for their own gain, who would stop at nothing to control it. He had to be careful. He couldn't just hand over the keys to the kingdom without thinking about the consequences. As he sat back in his chair, contemplating the future, the sound of footsteps pulled him from his thoughts. He turned to see his friend, Mike, walking into the garage. Mike was a local journalist, always on the lookout for a good story. Adam hadn't told him about the alien craft yet, but he had a feeling that Mike would find out sooner or later. Mike was just the type of person who noticed everything. "What's up, Adam?" Mike asked, his eyes scanning the room. "You've been acting strange lately. Any big projects on the horizon?" Adam hesitated for a moment before replying. "Yeah, actually. I've got something big, but I'm not sure I can explain it just yet." Mike raised an eyebrow. "Come on, man, don't leave me hanging. You know I can't resist a good mystery." Adam chuckled, though his mind was still preoccupied with everything he had learned. "It's not that simple. It's bigger than I thought." Mike gave him a curious look. "What do you mean by bigger? What's going on?" Adam took a deep breath. Maybe it was time to start talking. Maybe Mike could help him figure out the next step. "I've been working on something alien, something that could change everything." Mike's expression shifted from curiosity to confusion. "Alien? Wait, you're serious, right? What are you talking about?" Adam ran a hand through his hair, feeling the weight of the secret pressing down on him. "I can't explain everything right now, but there's a ship, an alien ship, and I've been working on it. I don't know how to describe it, but it's real, Mike. And it's not just a ship. It's a whole new world of technology that could change humanity's future." Mike blinked, clearly trying to process the information. "You're telling me you found an alien ship?" Adam nodded. "Yeah, and there's more. Much more. but I don't know if I'm ready to share it with anyone just yet." Mike looked at him, eyes wide with disbelief. "This is insane. But if it's real, I think we might have just found the story of a lifetime." Adam smiled softly, but inside, he knew that the journey ahead wouldn't be easy. There were too many unknowns, too many risks. But one thing was for sure: this was just the beginning. The beginning of a new chapter in human history. Adam wasn't sure what to expect when he called the meeting with Mike. There was a part of him that was excited to share what he had learned, to let someone in on the secret that had changed his life. But as the days went by, he realized how much risk was involved in doing so. The information he had gained from the alien ship wasn't just powerful, it was dangerous. The wrong person could misuse it, and if they knew where to look, they might try to take it from him. He had spent countless hours studying the ship's technology, trying to figure out how it all worked and what he could do with it. There were things he understood perfectly, and then there were things he didn't. The deeper he went, the more complicated it became. The power contained within the ship was beyond anything humanity had ever seen. Adam knew it wasn't just about fixing the ship anymore. It was about what that ship represented. But he couldn't keep it to himself forever. "Mike," Adam said, looking at his friend seriously, "this is bigger than I thought. I didn't realize how much trouble it could cause. The more I learn about the technology, the more I understand how dangerous it could be in the wrong hands." Mike sat down, his face growing more serious with each word Adam spoke. "What do you mean? Are we talking about a weapon?" Adam hesitated, not sure how to explain it. In a way, the ship's technology could be used to change things on Earth, to fix some of the problems we've been dealing with for centuries: pollution, energy, even health issues. But the same technology could also be used to destroy, to control, or to manipulate. Mike leaned forward, clearly concerned. "You're telling me this ship could change everything, or destroy everything?" Adam nodded slowly. "Exactly. It's like a double-edged sword. There's so much potential for good, but if someone with bad intentions got hold of it, it could be catastrophic." The two of them sat in silence for a moment, the weight of Adam's words sinking in. Mike was the first to break the silence. "Then what are we supposed to do?" he asked. "If it's that dangerous, shouldn't we tell someone? The government, maybe, or someone who can protect it?" Adam shook his head. "I don't trust anyone with it. Not yet. If I tell the wrong person, they could use it for their own benefit. No, I have to be careful. The technology has to be controlled, but I'm the only one who can keep it safe." Mike looked at him, a little worried. "I get that you don't want to trust anyone, but you can't do this alone. If you're talking about this much power, you need help. You need people who know how to handle something this big." Adam's thoughts drifted to Zora. He hadn't seen her in days, and though he could still feel the connection to her, the time had come for him to stand on his own. She had trusted him with the knowledge, but now it was up to him to use it wisely. "I know," Adam replied softly, "but I can't trust anyone just yet. There's too much at stake." Mike nodded, understanding. "All right, but what about the ship? We can't just leave it sitting out here, can we?" Adam had thought about that too. The alien craft was still parked outside, hidden from view behind his garage. It wasn't just a ship anymore. It was a powerful artifact, and it needed to be protected. "I'm going to move it," Adam said, standing up. "I'll hide it somewhere safe, somewhere no one can find it." Mike followed him outside, his face reflecting his concern. "Are you sure that's a good idea? If someone's looking for it, won't they eventually find it?" Adam looked over at the ship, the sleek, metallic surface gleaming under the afternoon sun. "I'm not sure, but for now, it's the best option I have." As he walked around the ship, inspecting its exterior one last time before moving it, Adam couldn't shake the feeling that something was wrong. He could feel the energy pulsing within the craft, almost as though it was alive. It was as if the ship itself was aware of his presence, aware of his thoughts. "Do you think anyone's been following you?" Mike asked, his voice breaking through Adam's thoughts. Adam looked up at him, suddenly aware of the risk that lingered in the air. He hadn't seen anything unusual, but that didn't mean they weren't being watched. "I don't know, but I've been careful. And I'll keep being careful. I can't afford to take any chances." As they prepared to move the ship, Adam couldn't help but feel the weight of the world on his shoulders. The power to change everything was within his reach, but it came with a price. If he made one wrong move, everything could come crashing down. He didn't know who would come looking for the ship or what they might do to get their hands on it. But he knew one thing for certain. He couldn't let that happen. Not now. Not when the future of humanity was at stake. With one last glance at the ship, Adam turned to Mike. "Help me move it. We'll take it somewhere safe." Together, they began the task of relocating the craft. As they worked, Adam's mind raced with possibilities. There was so much to consider, so much to plan. And in the back of his mind, a growing fear began to take root. Because Adam knew that the real danger wasn't just in the technology. It was in the people who would stop at nothing to get their hands on it. Adam and Mike spent the rest of the afternoon working in silence, carefully moving the alien craft to a secluded location deep in the woods, far from any prying eyes. The path was narrow and winding, and they had to be cautious to avoid drawing attention. The weight of their task hung over them, but Adam was determined to protect the ship. It was too powerful to be discovered by anyone else. As they reached the spot Adam had chosen, a hidden clearing surrounded by thick trees, he sighed with relief. "This should be secure enough," he muttered to himself, his eyes scanning the area to ensure there was no one nearby. He didn't know if they were being watched, but his instincts told him to stay alert. Mike looked around the area and nodded. "Yeah, this looks good. No one would think to come out here." Adam wasn't so sure. There was always the possibility that someone was already onto them, tracking their every move. He pushed the thought out of his mind for the moment. They had done what they could, and now it was time to make sure the ship stayed hidden. Just as they finished securing the area, Adam's phone buzzed in his pocket. He pulled it out and checked the message, his heart skipping a beat when he saw it was from Zara. "We need to talk, urgently." He frowned, feeling a twinge of unease. He hadn't heard from her in days, and now this message felt different. There was a sense of urgency in her words, and Adam couldn't ignore it. "Mike, I need to go. Something's come up," Adam said quickly, already moving toward his truck. Mike raised an eyebrow. "What's going on? You sure you want to leave now? You could use a little rest after everything." Adam didn't have time to explain. "I'll be back soon. Keep an eye on the ship." Mike didn't argue. He knew that Adam was always focused when it came to important things, and this clearly was. He watched Adam leave, the weight of the situation settling over him. But before he could turn back to the ship, a sudden noise made him stop. He spun around, his eyes scanning the trees. A rustling sound came from behind the trees. Someone, or something, was there. Mike's instincts kicked in, and he stepped away from the ship, trying to stay hidden in the shadows. His heart raced, and he slowly reached for his phone, ready to call Adam. But before he could make the move, the rustling stopped. Mike held his breath, waiting. There was no sound, no movement. He waited for what felt like an eternity, but then, nothing. It was like the forest had returned to its usual stillness. Still, Mike didn't move. He stayed hidden, unsure of who or what he had heard. Back at his house, Adam was focused entirely on the message from Zara. He quickly typed a reply, asking her what was so urgent. Within seconds, her response came. "They know. They're coming for you." Adam's stomach twisted with fear. He had expected danger, but this felt real. Zara's message was short, but it spoke volumes. The people who would want the alien ship were getting closer, and they weren't going to stop until they had it. The drive to Zara's place felt like it took forever. Every turn seemed longer, Every stoplight felt like a delay he couldn't afford. Adam's mind raced. Who knew about the ship? Who had found out? Had someone followed them? His thoughts were interrupted when he pulled up to Zora's place. He could see the lights inside, and he rushed to the door without hesitation. When Zora opened it, her face was pale, and there was a look of fear in her eyes. "Come inside. We need to talk," Zora said quickly, pulling him inside. Adam followed her into the small, dimly lit living room. She closed the door behind them and locked it with a sense of urgency. "They know, Adam. The ones who want the ship. They found out." Adam frowned, his hands clenched into fists. "Who are they? How did they know?" Zara took a deep breath, her eyes haunted. "It's the same people I've been running from. They have connections everywhere, and they're always watching. They're coming for the ship, Adam, and once they have it, they'll never stop." Adam felt a cold chill run down his spine. This wasn't just about the ship anymore. It was about survival. He looked at Zora, his mind racing with possibilities. "How much time do we have?" She hesitated, her voice barely a whisper. "Maybe hours, maybe less." Adam's heart pounded. He could feel the weight of the situation pressing down on him. This was no longer a game. The threat was real, and it was closing in fast. "I won't let them take it," Adam said, his voice firm. Zora nodded, her face filled with a mixture of fear and admiration. "We need to act fast. If we don't, everything will be lost." Adam looked around, thinking through his options. The only thing that mattered now was getting the ship to safety and keeping it out of the wrong hands. The clock was ticking, and Adam's mind raced as he stood in Zora's living room, trying to figure out his next move. He had to act fast. The aliens, or whoever these people were getting closer, and he couldn't let them find the ship. If they did, everything would be over. "We need to move the ship," Adam said, his voice filled with determination. "We can't leave it out there. If they find it, they'll take everything." Zora looked at him, her eyes wide with worry. "I know, but where can we hide it? They'll search everywhere." Adam thought for a moment. There was one place, one final option. It was a long shot, but it might be their only hope. The old underground bunker, deep in the woods, was an abandoned facility no one had used in years. It was hidden well enough that no one would think to look there. "We'll take it to the bunker," Adam said. "I know it's a risk, but it's the only place they won't find us." Zora hesitated, but then nodded. "All right, but we have to leave now. We don't have much time." They grabbed what little they could carry, knowing it wouldn't be much. The important thing was getting the ship out of the open. As they left Zora's house, Adam couldn't shake the feeling that they were being watched. The streets were eerily quiet, but his instincts told him that someone was out there, waiting. They drove in silence, the tension thick in the air. Adam's mind kept going over their plan. The bunker was far, and it would take them a while to get there. The whole time, he kept checking the rearview mirror, his heart pounding as he feared the worst. Just as they turned off the main road and onto the path leading to the bunker, Adam's phone buzzed. It was a message from Mike. "They're here. They're looking for you. What do we do?" Adam's pulse quickened. They couldn't waste any more time. He quickly typed a reply. "Meet us at the bunker. Hurry." As they reached the edge of the woods, Adam felt a slight sense of relief. The trees surrounded them, hiding their path as they drove deeper into the forest. The road became more rugged, and the truck bounced along the uneven ground. They couldn't afford to stop now. Adam glanced at Zora. "Stay alert. We don't know who's following us." Zora nodded, her face tense. "I'm ready. Let's just get there in one piece." When they reached the bunker, Mike was already there, waiting for them. His expression was grim, but he didn't ask questions. Adam knew they didn't have time for small talk. "We have to move fast," Adam said as he opened the truck door. "Once we get the ship inside, we lock it down. No one gets in. Mike helped unload the equipment, and they made their way to the underground entrance. The old metal door creaked as it opened, revealing the dark, dusty interior of the bunker. It had been years since anyone had set foot inside, but it was secure. It had been built to withstand almost anything, and Adam knew it was their best chance. Inside, the bunker was cold, and the air smelled stale. The walls were covered with old machinery and forgotten supplies, but Adam didn't care about any of that. All he cared about was getting the ship hidden. They worked together in silence, carefully moving the alien craft through the narrow passageways of the bunker. Every sound seemed to echo through the cold, dark corridors, and Adam couldn't shake the feeling that they were running out of time. As they reached the farthest room of the bunker, Adam finally allowed himself to relax, just for a moment. The ship was hidden, and they had done everything they could to secure it. But it wasn't over yet. Adam turned to Zara. "We have to make sure no one knows about this place. We can't risk anyone finding us." Zara nodded, her eyes filled with determination. "I'll make sure the outside looks untouched. No one will know we were here." Mike added, "We'll keep watch. They won't get past us." But just as Adam was about to turn to leave, there was a sudden sound, faint but unmistakable. A loud thud echoed through the bunker. Someone was here. Adam's heart skipped a beat. He motioned for everyone to stay quiet. They all stood still, listening to the sound of footsteps approaching from a hallway. "We have to go," Adam whispered urgently. "Now." They hurried through the bunker, but before they could reach the exit, the door slammed shut, locking them in. Panic spread through the group as they realized the danger they were in. Adam's mind raced. They couldn't be trapped here. Not after everything they'd been through. They had to escape. With no time to waste, Adam grabbed a nearby tool, forcing the door open. The footsteps grew louder, and he could feel the pressure building. This was their last chance. He motioned for Zara and Mike to follow him. "Let's go. This way." Together, they rushed deeper into the bunker, hoping they could outrun whatever was coming for them.